Welcome back, anime enthusiasts. In part 1 of the series, we witnessed how a Rimuru Chad Tempest formulated his own kingdom. As of now, things are proceeding quite smoothly for Rimuru, but how will they turn out this season? Episode 1. Following a long stay, Rimuru is finally leaving the academy and heading back to his own kingdom. He entrusts the kids' education in the hands of Miss Tiss, who had already taught them before. Rimuru also promises the kids to visit them once in a while. We also get a recap of the entire previous season, which was quite unnecessary. I mean, they're trying to take over our jobs. Anyways, as soon as Rimuru returns, he delivers a speech to encourage his people. Rimuru also proceeds to negotiate with the Kingdom of Euronzia to develop diplomatic relations with them. For this purpose, delegates from both countries would be visiting each other, and our hottest Metamaru is chosen to lead the delegation. In the meantime, the delegation from Euronzia also reached the Jura Tempest Federation. This delegation is led by the Golden Serpent Albus, who boasts 2 massive reasons to be liked by people around her. Episode 2. There's a mild scuffle among Sophia, who is representative from Euronzia and Xion, but before things escalate further, Albus decides to interfere and saves the day. After this, the negotiations between the 2 nations prove fruitful, and they begin exchanging technologies and trade routes. Even though Tempest is far superior in terms of technology and other stuff, but Euronzia surpasses them in agriculture, which piques Rimiru's interest. After this, Rimuru decides to visit the Kingdom of Dwargon to meet King Gazel. But before that, Benimaru reveals that he challenged Demon Lord Carrion to a battle and got his ass whooped. Following this, they leave Dwargon where Rimuru is supposed to meet King Gazel. In the meantime, Demon Lord Clayman is plotting something against Rimuru, as he instructs Majoran to spy on the Jura Tempest Federation. Episode 3. Rimuru then briefs everything to King Gazel regarding his negotiations with Euronzia, and what he had been doing all this time. After this, a ceremony takes place where the alliance between Dwargon and Tempest is made official, and Rimuru gets the appreciation he deserves. After all this, Rimuru sneaks out with Gobta and the others to visit the Elf Cafe to have some fun. Well, they do get in some trouble after Shuna locates them and lets him off the hook, but he has to eat Shion's cooking for a week. In the meantime, Majoran approaches Yume to join their party and gets brutally rejected. She then challenges Yume to prove that she is worthy and actually wipes the floor with him. With this mysterious woman joins Yume's party to achieve her goal. Episode 4. Following his business at Dwargon, Rimuru returns to Angrazia to teach the children and announce the result of their final exam. In the meantime, Yume and Majoran finally reach the Jura Tempest Federation, where Yume introduces herself to the others as their magical advisor, since they are lacking in that department. The Kingdom of Blumund and Rimuru also formulated a security pact, according to which, if Blumund gets ambushed from the forest, Tempest will have to interfere. With all this going on, the King of Falmouth is not too happy with Tempest becoming the center of trade and decides that it's about time they ambush the Nation of Monsters. The Archbishop of Falmouth proposes that they involve the church into this matter as well, and that way, they'll be able to utilize the Holy Knights in their invasion. He also proposes to send some other worlders ahead of their invasion to showcase their superiority. Episode 5. In the meantime, Yume is trying to rizz up Majoran, but he is unaware of the fact that she is working as a spy for Clayman, who is forcing her to do all this since he holds the control over her heart. After this, Sue notices the Falmouth army approaching Tempest and reports everything to Benimaru and the others. During this, they receive a message from Albus, informing them that Euronzia is preparing for a war against Demon Lord Milim. Meanwhile, the other worlders from Falmouth also appear in Tempest, and their role is to fabricate some weird events and ensnare Tempest. Just as they are proceeding with their plan, Xion and Shuna also appear at the spot and engage in battle. With all this going on, Clayman is forcing Majoran to form a barrier around Tempest and make it a no-magic area that would cut its communication from the outside world. With no other option, Majoran does exactly what Clayman told her to do. The Archbishop we saw previously also proceeds with his plan and traps the entire Tempest in a prison. Episode 6. Meanwhile, his kingdom is in danger. Rimuru is bidding farewell to his beloved students. As he's heading back, Rimuru gets trapped in multiple barriers and gets warned by Sue's double that he is surrounded by enemies. Just then, he gets confronted by Hinata Sakaguchi, who is in fact the chief knight of the Imperial Guards and the captain of the Holy Knights. Hinata has been ordered by someone to get rid of Rimuru and actually believes that he's the one behind Shizu's death. Rimuru wants to talk his way out of this, but Hinata, being a Karen, doesn't give a shit what he's saying. In the meantime, all the fighters in Tempest Kingdom, including Xion, are losing their battles owing to the barriers. Seeing that he has no way out, Rimuru decides to use his gluttony skill, and just as he orders the Great Sage, he falls unconscious, with Hinata piercing his chest. Episode 7. The battle proceeds as Rimuru takes on a form specialized for combat, but still loses against Hinata. It turns out that Rimuru wasn't even fighting her, and it was actually his doppelganger. He attempts to teleport to Tempest, but fails and has to teleport somewhere far where he comes across Sue, who informs him about the barrier and everything. In the meantime, Benimaru wants to kill Majoran for what she had done with Yume trying to stop him. Just then, Rimuru also appears at the spot as Majoran apologizes for what she did. Rimuru fails to comprehend what she is saying and understands everything when he witnesses countless dead bodies of his people. Despite everything, Rimuru stays calm and holds a meeting where it's revealed that the Western Church and Kingdom of Falmouth is behind all of this. Majoran also reveals that she is actually a spy working for Clayman. Episode 8. Now, this episode is the most important. I'll keep it short, so y'all better pay attention. Majoran reveals that Clayman's actual plan is to get Tempest and Falmouth to go to war with each other. After hearing everything she has to say, Rimuru postpones her punishment and decides to focus on what's important. It is revealed that Xion had also lost her life protecting the innocent, which basically means no massive melons for Rimuru to rest. In the meantime, Eren and her party also appear at the spot. She tells Rimuru a mind-boggling story regarding a girl who killed 10,000 men, became a demon lord, and reincarnated her dead dragon companion. Hearing this, the Great Sage informs Rimuru that he already meets the criteria of becoming a demon lord and even possesses the seed. Well, he got the seed from the Orc Lord way back in Season 1. Meanwhile, Sue has determined the base of Falmouth army and informs Rimuru that around 20,000 soldiers are heading their way. With this, Rimuru decides to become a demon lord by massacring the entire army. After this, Rimuru frees Majoran from her enslavement and fools Clayman into thinking that she is dead. Episode 9. It is about time they formulate the strategy for the upcoming war. Before that, Rimuru reveals his entire past as a human to everyone. He further tells them that he wanted to befriend humans because he was once a human too. But now that they are hurting people who are precious to him, he just cannot let this slide. Rimuru strategizes that he'll take care of the main forces, while Benimaru and the others will take care of magic devices forming the barrier. He also instructs Shuna and Majoran to replace the device so that souls remaining trapped. With this, all of them proceed to fulfill their tasks. Episode 10. Benimaru, Gabiru, and Sue are tasked with annihilating the camps and getting rid of those troublesome magic devices. Meanwhile, Geld, Hikuru, and Rigard are assigned to get rid of those 3 other worlders. Even though they were confident in their abilities, now they are outside the barrier. Hikuru and the others wipe their ass until they start crying like bitch. One of them, Shogo, manages to survive, only to get absorbed by a Meijin named Raisin. Meanwhile, Shuna and Majoran reinforce a new barrier over the kingdom to preserve the souls. With all this going on, Rimuru also proceeds with his plan as he massacres the Falmouth army to become a true demon lord. Episode 11. Rimuru Chad Tempest massacres the entire Falmouth army and even cut off the arm of their king, who was being a bitch and wanted compensation for their loss. After this, he utilizes his newly acquired skill Merciless to acquire the remaining souls, and with this, his transformation into Demon Lord begins. He also summons 3 demons including Black, using the dead bodies of Falmouth soldiers, and with this, he returns back to Tempest. Rimuru's transformation includes upgradation of his skills, including the Great Sage that evolves into Raphael. In the meantime, Black confronts Raisin, who had mysteriously survived Rimuru's massacre and gets killed off. He also figured out that Black might actually be a primordial demon. Meanwhile, Rimuru also sacrifices his Merciless skill to evolve his Gluttony into Beelzebub. He then sacrifices 2 demons to gain some magicules and revives the dead monsters of his kingdom, including Xion. And just like any other time, he falls unconscious. Episode 12. After some time, Rimuru wakes up with a beautiful view of Xion's melons and the people of his kingdom. Since Rimuru had become a demon lord, all of his followers have also evolved and gotten stronger. Meanwhile, Milim has declared war on Euronzia, and Carrion decides to fight her alone since he doesn't want others to die. During their fight, Demon Lord Frey appears out of nowhere and kills Carrion. With this, Euronzia has been completely wiped out. But Rimuru speculates that Milim is not the sort of person who'd do something like this, and there must be someone behind it. Rimuru then grants Black the name Diablo that consumes almost half his magicules. At the end of this episode, Raphael reveals that the appraisal of Veldora's imprisonment is almost complete, and they can now free him. Rimuru creates a double of his own body to store Veldora's soul. Veldora then inhabits the body and turns into a blonde stud, for some reason. That's it, folks. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on part 2 of this series.